Have you ever mislabeled a notebook or a box only later to realize that you made a silly mistake? Well, the government kind of did the same thing, but it ended up costing them $10 million. Specifically, it was the misclassification of job positions. And this can happen a lot more than people realize. Recently, the ATF, which is the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearm Bureau, they misclassified some of their administrative positions into law enforcement positions. And by some, I mean over 100. Now, these were not just any old administrative jobs. We're not talking about GS6 or GS7 here. These were GS15s. And you could be thinking, well, a GS15 is a GS15, right? Who cares what it's classified as? What's the big deal, right? Wrong. Law enforcement jobs actually have a premium pay attached to it, and they received enhanced pension benefits. So did they misclassify and then realize it really quick and fix the mistake? No, they didn't. It took 5 years and an OMB audit to uncover and discover what had happened. Why do law enforcement professionals earn more money than an administrative professional? Well, if you look at law enforcement professionals, they're on call a lot of the times. They might have to put in 8-9 hours a day, and then in the middle of the night their phone rings and they have to go perform duties. Not just that, but a lot of these individuals, their life, their well-being is more at risk than somebody who sits behind a desk. The OPM audit came because of 2 whistleblowers. These people probably were sitting in the office saying, hey, what is this guy doing getting more money than me? Usually it comes from that, right? Someone feels unfairly treated and they go ahead and blow the whistle. So after the investigation, OPM pretty much restricted ATF from classifying any more positions as law enforcement positions. So they lost a little bit of their power temporarily. The end result of this mistake is roughly $10 million, taxpayer dollars, that's now gone. And why? Is it mismanagement? Obviously, leadership has to be held to blame at some level. Could be mismanagement, could be intentional, right? This could be a way that they were trying to give higher level government officials more money, more benefits. What about the employees? The over 100 employees that received a positive benefit from this error. What happens to them? Well, they were given 3 choices. The first one is they could resign, they could retire. The second one is they could be reassigned. And then the third one is they can keep their current position, but it's going to be reclassified. It's going back to administrative as it should have in the beginning. But unfortunately, this is not the only case of misclassification. You might have heard recently that they're ramping up the efforts for SSP, the Special Salary Program for the 2210 series, the IT professionals. So with that, a lot of people have been coming forward saying, hey, not everybody who's slotted as a 2210 actually does IT work. In fact, a lot of people that are in the 2210 position, they're doing administrative work. They're doing the work of a 0301 or a 0340. They're not doing anything regarding IT. So people are upset about this because with this pay comes into effect, you will see your coworker with a 15 to 20% boost in their salary and they're doing the same thing you're doing, right? People are going to end up blowing the whistle over this problem. Job misclassification is not only a federal government issue. And there are estimates that 10 to 20% of jobs throughout the country have been misclassified. This comes down also to people who are being recognized as a contractor, but they have no idea. They think they're a full-time employee. And when it comes time to do their taxes, all of a sudden their employer is handing them a 1099 and they realize, wait a minute, you're treating me as a contractor? That doesn't make a lot of sense. This is an issue that the Department of Labor is very concerned with. When it comes to job classifications, the private sector and the public sector, they handle it completely different. If you go and look for someone that works in the private sector and say, hey, what do you do? They'll probably tell you in 1, 2, or 3 sentences, they'll tell you exactly what they do. Do the same thing with a government employee. You can open up the OPM Job Series Handbook and there's pages, and there could be a dozen pages on what somebody could be expected to do in that job series. So it's not clean and cut. I've also heard people in the 0500 job series, 0560 to be exact, budget analyst, and they're not analyzing any budget. They're not really working with any numbers. They're doing administrative work that's not towards budgeting or accounting. So could they be slotted as a 0301? Would that be a more appropriate job series for them? Yeah, probably. That would be more appropriate. But the way that a lot of these organizations are staffed, they have to run with the job series that they have. And more than one person has called me up and said, hey, this is not the job that I applied to. They want me to do X, Y, and Z, and I had no idea from the job announcement. And there's something that you could do about this. You can request a desk audit. And what a desk audit essentially is you go through your supervisor, they contact HR, and you both, your supervisor and HR, you figure it out. You find out exactly what that position should be classified as. Not just job classification, this could impact the GS grade of your position. So do not be in a rush to do this unless you're absolutely sure that something is wrong. What could happen is you're listing out all your duties and responsibilities. You're like, hey, listen, I do this on Wednesday, I do this on Thursday, and I'm taking care of that. I'm going to this meeting. Next thing you know, you're a GS 12, and they realize, wait a minute, you're doing the work of a GS 11. So they can actually reduce your GS grade, or they can increase it. So the whole purpose behind a desk audit is to find out what are the duties and responsibilities of that position, genuinely, truly. And then from that point, if a reclassification needs to be made, if a GS grade, increase or decrease needs to be made, they make it more aligned to the position and the reality of the work that you're doing. Do not be surprised when a lot of the job descriptions that you're reading, it's not going to match up identical to the position that you will accept. This is one of the reasons why I encourage people when they're in the interview, ask the hiring manager, what is expected of this duty position for the next 6 to 8 months so you can get an idea on what you will actually be doing. Same thing when you show up on your first day. If it's your first day and you're talking to your coworkers, you're talking to your supervisor, try to figure out exactly what the expectations for that position will be so you're not caught by surprise. Okay, so if you're in a pretty horrible job right now and you feel stuck, you feel like no matter what you do, you have to wake up every day and go to this awful toxic work culture wherever you're at. If that's your situation, I want you to watch this video next. If you would like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.